Hi, welcome to the Personal History Hub. In this video, we're going to be looking at escalation under President Johnson. So, Kennedy's assassination. Kennedy said the US government had a responsibility to help the new South Vietnam government. He considered greater US military involvement, but stressed that his aims were to influence the new government to act democratically, to influence the new government to win over the people of South Vietnam, to withdraw US advisors and other forces as soon as possible. However, on the 22nd of November 1963, President Kennedy was assassinated. He was shot. Vice President Johnson, therefore, became the president. He had to work with General Min's new, unstable government in South Vietnam. He hoped that only a limited amount of help would be needed before the USA could leave Vietnam. But like Eisenhower and Kennedy before him, he wanted to be sure it was safe from communism first. So, escalation under Johnson then. When Kennedy was assassinated in November 1963, his successor, Lyndon Johnson, inherited a limited but growing US commitment to a war that was not going well for the USA. The Viet Cong was becoming an increasing threat. There were nearly 60,000 guerrilla groups operating in South Vietnam by the end of 1964. They were being supplied by the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which ran from the north of Vietnam down to the south via Laos and Cambodia, the neighbouring countries. 35% of South Vietnam was in Viet Cong hands. At first, Johnson did not want to extend US commitment to include combat troops. He preferred to expand the US advisory role. Johnson had the same goals as Kennedy. He wanted to, 1, set up a government the South Vietnamese people actually wanted, 2, stop communism, so keep South Vietnam as a separate country, and 3, stop the war from escalating and avoiding nuclear war. However, it soon became apparent that there would be a much more direct US involvement to defeat the Viet Cong. Johnson needed to convince Congress and the US public of the need for such commitment. The increasing threat of the Viet Cong. Diem was gone, but the new government was even weaker. No clear leader emerged, and various army leaders struggled for power. It was clear that South Vietnam would not survive without more US involvement. By this point, it only controlled 30 to 40% of South Vietnam. The ARVN was caught up in government struggles rather than focusing on defeating the Viet Cong. The ARVN had about 500,000 troops and control of the air. The VC had fewer than 100,000, but was still putting the ARVN under pressure. North Vietnam sent increasing amounts of equipment and men along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Between 1955 and 1963, China sent aid worth $100 million, much of it went south. The VC were getting stronger. They attacked more often and they attacked the US targets, for example, air bases such as Pleiku in 1965, as well as roads and bridges. Okay, don't forget to subscribe to the Personal History Hub. Next video is going to be looking at the Gulf of Tonkin incident and the Gulf of Tonkin resolution.